Welcome to the Right People, Right Places podcast. I'm your host, Raul Mendoza. So excited to get into this episode. Today I wanted to talk about purpose, perseverance, and profits. And it's been a journey. I'm coming up on a year of being full-time on my own. Started my own company, being the founder of Rapido Talent, and lots of lessons learned. It's been an exciting time. In the last few months, I've been able to bring on new clients. I've been able to also hire my first teammate, and I've brought on some new technologies to streamline our processes and really make our proprietary process very robust to serve our clients. It's been a very exciting time. I've just been thinking a lot about the importance of purpose in anything that we do. We don't live to work, we work to live. And purpose is intrinsically a part of that. What is your purpose? I know these are big questions to ask. We'll dive in this episode. We'll talk about purpose. I'll share a little bit about what my purpose is. What are some of the behind the scenes of what makes Raul tick, the founder of Rapido Talent here. And perseverance. It takes grit. It takes perseverance. It takes pushing forward, even when you're not seeing that result, even when you're not seeing that thing take shape that you're working on, the thing that you can see in your mind's eye, but it's not become tangible yet. It takes perseverance. You got to push through. Things take time. It requires patience, and you can't persevere without being patient. We're going to talk a little bit about that in this episode. And profits. On the other side of purpose, on the other side of perseverance, is profits. And I'm not just talking about the green kind, the money kind. You're able to profit in far more meaningful ways that go beyond just making a living when it comes to building relationships, when it comes to providing for your family, when it comes to lessons learned, character built. That's what happens when you find purpose and you persevere. You profit from it. You profit from it in your own life in ways that go way beyond just the green stuff that hits your bank account. And those are the things I don't want to talk about today. I think these are things that we need to ponder, we need to think about, we have to come to terms with as we think about doing meaningful work, as we think about providing value to clients. I think we're only going to be able to provide to clients and customers and candidates. That's my world, clients, customers, and candidates, and even future prospects of clients, what we are able to invest in ourselves. So how are you investing in yourself? How are you building yourself up? How are you growing yourself as an individual? You're only going to give out of what you've given to yourself first and sown into yourself first. So let's get into it. So again, we're going to talk about purpose, perseverance, and profits. Let's kick into purpose. Why is purpose so important? Why is it so important that we define that thing that is underlying everything that we do? I think sometimes when we think about the idea of purpose, we can think of it in a very untangible way. We can think of it in terms of something that's pie in the sky, and something that's lofty, something that I can't touch, feel, or taste. Again, something that's not tangible. But I think it's important in all that we do that we are able to connect purpose, especially in our work. We're going to be working most of our lives, and we need to be able to find something. And I'm not saying you need to necessarily find your purpose in the work that you do, but I think it's important for us to come to terms with those intrinsic motivators, those things that cause us to come alive. I think that's a great question to ask yourself, is what makes you come alive? What kind of sets you ablaze? What gets you going? What gets you angry? what gets your attention. I think these are places that provide clues as to what could be the motivating factor or the drive behind what makes you tick. And I think in those areas is where you'll find purpose and you'll connect with it. And I think we don't have to find purpose in our work necessarily. I think it's important for us to find purpose in our lives, and that gives meaning to whatever work we do. That gives meaning to the value we bring to people in situations, and that brings meaning to other individuals as well. It's important that we come to terms with what that meaning is for us, that purpose is for us, because if we don't, I think we hit a little bit of an identity crisis. We flip-flop between comparing ourselves to other people, comparing ourselves to other situations. We begin to measure ourselves against someone else's success and what they're able to do and their capabilities. And that's not the place that we're meant to be. We're meant to be seeing ourselves, taking a look in the mirror and be able to say, okay, in my case, who is Raul? Who is he? I'm not this person. I'm not that person. This is who I am. And coming to terms with that, the good, the bad, and the ugly of that, because we're all a work in progress, aren't we? And we need to be able to take hold of that in our lives. Just to be transparent, it's taken me most of my life to get to the point where I've come to terms with who Raul is. I'm the recruiter rapper. That's what I say on social media. And all joking aside, that's who I am. That's what I like to do. I love to write music. I love to write poetry, and I love to do it against some instrumentals. There's something that makes me come alive when I do that. And something about connecting that to my work gives meaning to my work. It gives creativity to my work. It motivates me. And I also find an expression to encourage people and to uplift people through that expression of hip hop and rap. And I love recruiting because it's about relationship. It's about connection. And I think that's what happens when you come to terms with your purpose. All of a sudden, these things that can seem as different threads of who we are begin to weave together into a tapestry of who you are. And you begin to see it. It becomes tangible. And you realize, you know what? This is who I am. I need to be myself with other people in this way. And when it comes to being the recruiter rapper, for me, my story, I was writing hip hop, I was writing rap here for a few years, and it was something that I was doing under wraps. I didn't want people to know about it, and it was one of those things that I almost felt funny about because it felt like such a personal part of me, such a different part of me. It didn't connect with the rest of my life and how I felt people perceived me. But there came a point through life circumstances and challenges and difficulty, which I won't get into in this episode, but it was through those trials that I came to terms with, you know what, this is a part of who I am, and I can't just keep this under wraps. I need to put my light on display when it comes to these personal pieces of who makes Raul tick. And so I began to put my music out there through Instagram, and then I had the idea to do it through my work as a recruiter and to share ideas about talent acquisition, share ideas about my business, Rapido Talent, and expressing it through creative hip-hop, rap music, or otherwise known as bars. And as I did that, I realized this is it. This is who I am. So it takes vulnerability. It takes courage to be able to put yourself out there in that way. And you know what? Looking back at the journey of becoming the recruiter rapper, I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm still a work in progress. There's still things I want to work on as a creative in that I haven't arrived at. But you know what? It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. And one of the things that comes with age and experience, I hit 40 years old this past year. I'm actually going to be 41 this year. And being able to get this out there for the public to see who I am, I've never been more free. I've never been more alive. I've never been more afraid as well. But you know what? We don't buckle in the face of fear. We lean into it, and that's where we find purpose. It's when we do the thing that we feared most. It's when we do the thing that we know is an intrinsic part of who we are. And yeah, that's purpose right there. I'm sharing it through my lens, through my story, but hopefully you are able to relate and resonate with that and connect it to what you're processing when it comes to this issue of purpose. I think for me as well, being an entrepreneur and building a business and having a young family, there's a lot of risk involved in building business. And also, I think not only do you have to be fully who you are in finding your purpose and being fully authentic, not only to yourself, but to those around you, but you need something that's bigger than you. And for me, it's my relationship with God. I'm a praying man. I'm a man of faith. And I can't do any of this. I can't be the recruiter rapper without it. I can't be a father, a husband without my faith. It's the thing that really motivates and drives me beyond the work, beyond the creativity, beyond building business and all of the challenges and rewards that comes along with that. It's my faith that is the underlying force of my life that really allows me to stay steady on the course and engaged, and really just to continue to be envisioned for what I do, because I'm doing it for someone bigger than myself, and he's the audience. God's the audience, and I'm a praying man. I ask for help the day. I think tapping into that spirituality, I think, is important. And if you ever need prayers, I'm always talking to people in my network and saying, hey, if you're going through something tough, I'd love to hear what's going on. I'd love to hear the challenge, and I'd love to stand with you in prayer. I'm a praying man, and yeah, you gotta work hard, but just as hard as you work, you gotta pray hard. That's what I say, at least. Yeah, just to zoom out with these two ideas, this idea of being authentically yourself and having the courage to step out and put yourself out there and put your full self out there. In my case, it was being this recruiter rapper, and the development of that persona has released me in a lot of ways, just because it's helped me tap into my purpose in that sense. I've been able to weave this tapestry of purpose through just putting everything out there. And so I think that's one way, being able to tap into or discover purpose and motivation and in an authentic way, is having the courage to put yourself out there with things that maybe you feel a bit afraid or you feel shame for some reason, to put yourself out there in that way about something that is in you, that you're passionate about, that you're excited about. For me, it was hip hop. I think whatever that is for you, I think putting yourself out there in that way and being fully yourself, first for you and then for others, I think can be a huge stepping stone and kind of tapping into that. And also just being a person of faith, I think tapping into that. We can't do this on our own, and prayer is powerful. And that's what I'll say on that. That's purpose, perseverance. Now you got to push through. You can have the vision, you can have the idea, you can be clear on your purpose, you can be clear on the way forward in terms of what you know you need to put out there with people. You can be clear on all those things, and you can begin that journey of actually putting that stuff out there, whatever that is for you, punching fear in the face and moving ahead. You can begin to do those things, but then this is where things begin to take shape. It's on the journey, and it's not just doing it once. It's not just doing it twice. It's not just doing it for a month. It's actually being committed to doing the activity, doing the work, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. That takes perseverance. That takes grit. And that's where these things begin to come to life. That's where your purpose begins to find definition in a way that you might have an idea of what your purpose is as you're setting out and you're beginning to take steps of courage and beginning to be vulnerable and risk those things. But you don't really clarify and define that until you commit to persevering through that journey. There's so much that you learn through the process of putting yourself out there, getting your ideas out there. You come to understand the limitations of who you are, the limitations of your talents, your gifts, the limitations of your time even. To speak for myself, I've been married 12 years and I've got 4 children. I've got a young family. And one of the things that I'm very aware of is time constraints. Not only especially being the owner of my own company, and there's only so much time in the day and my time is divided. And my energy as well. There's limitations to my energy and my ability to take on things, and there's only so much I can do, so I need to be clear on the vision and the purpose of what I'm looking to accomplish. But you don't come to terms with those things unless you engage and persevere in the journey. You need to push forward in the journey. That's where the learning happens. You don't realize how to do this until the rubber meets the road and you're doing it over and over, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, years in, years out. That's where things begin to crystallize. The vision begins to crystallize. Things begin to come into focus. You come to terms with your strengths, your talents. You realize the deficit at times as well, and where that could be met by other people or by other technologies or other resources, whatever that may be. But you don't realize what you don't know until you do. And that's what I want to encourage you with. Perseverance is about doing the work. It's about pushing ahead even when you don't have it all figured out, pushing ahead when you're afraid, pushing ahead when you're not feeling good, pushing ahead because you're committed to the journey of learning. And that's what this is all about. And I think it's, again, going back to the element of faith and purpose, it's important to have some definition of that, because when you're in the journey of persevering and pushing forward, that's when it's important for you to come back to those things that propelled you in the first place. I know for me, when it comes to the journey of building this business, I come back to when it's gotten hard in recent months, I've come back to that place of what's the alternative? The alternative is me just getting a job. I don't have to be self-employed, but when I go back to that place and I realize, you know what, that's not what I want, I can't go back. I can't go back to that. I can't go back to just having a job. And when I realize that, I'm like, okay, no, I got to figure this out. I got to press into this. And that causes me to switch into go mode, get focus, zero in, and just put one foot in front of the other. And every day, with gratitude for the opportunity that I have every day to get up and do the thing that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to have my own company. I've always wanted to run my own business. I've had it in my heart. I've helped other entrepreneurs build business. I've seen from their misgivings and from their good fortune how to do it. And I've learned so much. And the time came for me to be able to do that. And through life and circumstances, those things materialized in such a way where the opportunity presented itself, and boom, here we are. And I'm not a believer in happen chance, or I believe that things happen for a reason. I believe that things materialize in time the way they do for purpose. And that's what perseverance does. When you push through, you persevere, it crystallizes your vision, it crystallizes your resolve, it educates you on who you are, what you're good at, what you're not. And it also opens up the opportunity for you to connect with people to fill in the gaps as well. Part of purpose, going back to that issue, we're talking about perseverance right now, but I think coming to terms with purpose is important, because as you do, and you're in the process of persevering and pushing through on that journey, making it happen, trying to succeed, as you're doing that, you're going to draw people into what you're doing. You're going to draw people into those things as you're sharing, as you're being vulnerable, but also pushing ahead and persevering and being gritty about what you're trying to achieve. People are going to be drawn to you, and you're also going to detract people, and you're also going to potentially even tick some people off. That's just life. And some people aren't going to like that you're succeeding, that you're doing the thing that you want to do, and they're not going to be happy for your success. That's just the way that goes. You're going to have critics, you're going to have those that celebrate what you do and encourage you, and then you're going to have the rest, which I just call the crowd, that are indifferent. But perseverance is important. It forges the path ahead, and it defines things. And so what I wanted to say with that was this just idea of people are a part of that purpose. And when you're pushing and persevering, people are going to come alongside. Community is going to begin to form as you're sharing your ideas, sharing your thoughts, as you're putting yourself out there in an authentic way. The right people are going to come into relationship. I've just found that even just in recent months, even with hiring my good friend Matt Miller here that I've worked with over the years, as I've persevered, pushed ahead, began to close deals, all of a sudden he was in a situation where he was laid off from his company, and it just happened to be during a time where I was beginning to build momentum with new business that was coming in. And that relationship came about and was in time with what I was looking to do. And here he is, Matt Miller, the fisherman recruiter is what we call him here, because he engages and helps recruiters and hiring teams look for top talent. He knows how to fish in real life, and he knows how to get those big catches, and he knows how to find that talent now. In the same way, he employs those same skills and abilities in the work that he does, and he's very good at it. I'm very thankful to have him. Yeah, this is just a caveat to what I've been sharing, but this idea of thankfulness and gratitude is also a big deal. That's something that you learn in the journey of persevering and pushing ahead, is you learn to actually be thankful. And that is your ally. Thankfulness and gratitude are an ally to you when you're in the work and you're pushing ahead, striving towards your goals. You need to be thankful, because that shapes your attitude, that shapes your perspective. You learn to build yourself up in the journey as an entrepreneur, as someone that's self-employed. Even if you're not self-employed and you're engaged in the work of just doing, even if you're not an owner of your own company, whatever that you're engaging in, I think this kind of is advice for anyone in any situation in life that is meaningfully pursuing something that is important to them. If you're not thankful, and if you're not full of gratitude for the opportunity to be able to do it and learn to develop that muscle of gratitude, you won't keep going, because you have to find the silver lining. Because persevering and learning new things and growing and developing and a crystal vision and reaching for your goals is hard work. And what gives you air and gives you oxygen in the process is thankfulness and gratitude. That's just a sidebar to this issue of perseverance. You learn to do that in the, what's the word that I'm looking for? Not the furnace, but in the pressure cooker. That sounds good. In the pressure cooker of the journey, you learn to be thankful, because there's pressure and it's hard and things aren't always easy and things don't always feel great. And learning to strengthen yourself through thankfulness and gratitude really helps shape your perspectives. I'll leave you with that when it comes to the issue of perseverance. Now we've talked about purpose, we've talked about perseverance, and some sidebars there about thanks and gratitude and how that feeds you in the time, in the journey of perseverance as you're going after your goals, as you're in the crucible of challenge and trial, pushing ahead, trying to make things happen. Thankfulness and gratitude are so good in shaping and helping you have a good attitude and have perspective on everything that's going on. So let's talk about profits now. So there is a reward for your work if you stick it out, if you persevere till the end, if you keep pushing ahead. There is a reward for you. When you're committed to the journey, when you're making it happen, when you're going after your goals, and these things are beginning to crystallize and business is beginning to take shape. Your offering, in my case, begins to take shape. What we are doing as a company and how we differentiate ourselves from the competition begins to take shape. Profits come. customers begin to get drawn in. We are bringing value to customers. We're delivering solutions, results that come in the form of hiring high performers in my world. It's profitable. I'm able to pay the bills. I'm making money. There is growth that's happening. I'm able to bring someone on, like I mentioned earlier, Matthew Miller, who came on board, who I'm very happy to have him. And I have a fractional team also that comes in and out. And I'm looking to bring in more partners as well in the future to help build out and teach others do this for themselves as well. It's all profitable. And you don't get to the profit unless you go through the self-discovery of figuring out purpose and who you are, coming to terms with what and who you are, and then committing to the journey of persevering and being gritty and making it happen. If you don't commit to those things, you don't get to that end goal of profits. And building a business is more than just about making profits for me. It's been a journey of shaping my character and also coming to terms with who I am and what I'm able to do and what I'm not able to do. It humbles you. The journey humbles you, to say the least. However, it's profitable. It's profitable for my character. It's profitable for others that are able to share in the work that I do. It's profitable for my customers and clients and candidates that I get to work with. It's profitable for them because I've committed to the journey. I've earned my stripes and I'm able to now give to others what I've been able to learn from the journey. And I'm still, I would say, at the beginning of that journey, and there's still more for me to garner in terms of wisdom and experience in these ways. I wouldn't say that I've arrived by any means, but my company's profitable. My clients are growing their profits through hiring high performing talent, so that's great. And I'm also growing as an organization and bringing in new talent as well. So great things are happening, but it's not about just the Benjamins, that green stuff that hits your bank account. It's not just about making a living and having profits to be able to do that, but it's being profitable to be able to give back to those things that are important to me, to be able to be generous with the resources that I've been able to generate from building a company. Being profitable isn't just about making money. It's about profiting in ways beyond that as well. And like I've already shared some of that when it comes to how I've profited through the journey and to coming to terms with vision on building business. I've profited in building my character and learning how to lead people, how to influence people, how to build relationships, how to bring value, how to communicate value, how to communicate vision. There's so many things that I've been learning through this process and that I'm still continuing to learn. I'm learning my limitations, but also learning my gifts and strengths, learning the importance of team. That's one huge one for me, is I've never realized how lonely the journey of building a company and having a vision for something can be until I endeavored on it. And like I said earlier throughout this podcast episode, you don't know what you don't know. And that's part of the process of learning and committing to that journey. So you profit in more than one way, not just in the monetary way. You profit in who you become through the process as you commit to the journey. You profit in the relationships that are drawn to you as you're becoming clear on what your business is and the purpose of your business, the mission of your business, and how that is going to have impact on customers, clients, and candidates in my case. And then you begin to profit in relationships that you're connected and bringing in, not only in building your company and bringing others in, whether it's a leadership team or whether it's, in my case, recruiters. So that's why I paused. But you profit in more than one way is the point in all of this that I'm saying. It's not just in the green stuff hitting the account. It's in so many different ways. And I think being able to recognize that, I think a big piece of it is generosity. I think making money for money's sake, to me isn't enough. It needs to have, again, we're coming full circle to purpose, right? Like, coming to terms with purpose is important for the journey, but also for when you arrive at the other side, which is profits. When you know what your purpose is, it gives meaning to what you want to use those profits for. And that's where I'm at. That's one of the driving factors for me. One of the things that drove me into going into business for myself was the ability to build something that generates wealth and generates money, not only to bring value to companies and business and to organizations and to individuals, but also to be able to provide generously in financial ways to causes that are near and dear to my heart and that are connected purpose and passion. So that's important. These things are interconnected. The ability to come to terms with your purpose informs how you will utilize your profits for purpose. And I think that's a good place to end this. I think this is a nice bookend to everything that we've discussed. Again, purpose, get to terms with it. Look yourself in the mirror, figure it out. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop getting down on yourself. Do something. Do something. Talk to people. Have conversations. Come to terms with purpose. Come to terms with who you are. And pray about it. We need help. We need resources beyond ourselves and others at times, and that's where prayer comes, in my opinion. And then persevere. Once you have an idea and a vision, you have something, go ahead and persevere. Commit to the journey. Be gritty. Keep going. Day in, day out. Month in, month out. Week in, week out. Year in, year out. Like I said, I flip-flop. But you get what I'm saying? Now I'm getting all recruiter rapper on you. I might drop some bars right now. I'm feeling it actually a little bit. Just kidding. So commit to the journey. And then while you're on the journey, learn to be thankful. Learn to cultivate an attitude of gratitude that will serve as a resource for you in the journey. It'll help you to be joyful in the midst of challenge. And then you will reach that destination. You will get to that point where you begin to make profits. You begin to profit from you come into terms with your purpose. You come into terms with the journey and coming to terms with the definition of what those things are as you commit to the process. You begin to profit from it. You begin to also, and in more than one way, not just monetarily, but through relationships, through wisdom, through character that you build as you go through the journey, as you take those hits, as you celebrate those wins. All of those things contribute to towards shaping who you are and your character. And then it comes back to purpose. Like I said, it's what, making money for money's sake isn't enough. That's why you have so much of the world and Hollywood as well, that they arrive. You see so many people that have arrived and only to realize that they've lost so much throughout the process because they sold themselves to something that they didn't sign up for. And I think that's why it's important to be clear on your purpose. And then not only that, when you do get to profits, to come back to that purpose, because that informs the way you use those profits, those resources for good. So that's all I have for you in this episode. If you've listened up to this point, I just want to thank you for staying in there with me, with the Recruiter Rapper, as I've rapped about purpose, rapped about perseverance, and rapped about profits. I hope that you've profited from this episode. And yeah, if you found this helpful, informative, insightful, I want to encourage you to go ahead and follow me on social media. I'll provide all those links here in the episode below. Check it out. Feel free to hit the bell, the follow button, all those things all across the board. And yeah, I do this because I want to add value to people. I want to help people. It's a joy for me to be able to do that. So That's why I have the Right People, Right Places podcast. It's for this purpose, to bring value, to make a connection, to encourage relationship in a very highly technology powered world. We need relationship, we need connection. And I love that I can use technology to make these connections for you. We need people, we need connection, and that's what this is all about. So, anyway, that's all that I have for you today. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Right People, Right Places podcast. Peace out.